You know, business everywhere is challenging. Anywhere you do business, it's not easy. And as someone who has started several businesses, sold several businesses, failed at several businesses, business isn't easy. And one of the things that I've learned starting businesses abroad, it takes several things to be successful. And in this video, I'm gonna share those 3 things. And if you stick around to the end, I am going to share how you can find a personal resource that has been really helpful to me and dozens of the clients that I work with. So first, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Ashley. On my channel, Ashley in Africa, I talk about my experience moving, living, and doing business here on the continent of Africa. I share my journey of love, motherhood, and entrepreneurship. And if that sounds interesting to you, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. For all of those that aren't new, welcome back. Thank you to our 10,000 subscribers and growing. Like, wow, just wow. Full of gratitude, so grateful. My heart is full, and I'm just happy to know that the content that I'm sharing is valuable. So, you know, let's get into it. The 3 things that I learned when starting a business abroad that have allowed me to be so successful are pretty basic, I think, in, you know, when we think about starting a business. And the first thing was time, taking time. So the first, you know, thing that I did when I got to the continent, I am currently in Tanzania. I was like, what am I gonna do? Gotta start a business, gotta get some revenue flowing. And that somewhat did me a disservice, right? I just didn't take the adequate amount of time. For many of you that know, I started a coffee business, and that idea came only 6 months after being here on the continent and thinking that I was going to be able to start a business like a international export commodities business in a year. It was just it was unrealistic. And while I've learned so much and have since expanded that concept to high crop goods and high quality goods, I needed to take some time. And for many of us coming from the West, especially children of the diaspora, children of the continent, we have a lot of work to do. I talk a lot about healing on this channel, and especially coming from the West as a person of melanated skin, as a child of Africa, as a child of the diaspora. There is so much work that we need to do when we come to the continent. So the first thing isn't hopping into business. While I do suggest having ideas and doing research beforehand, before you make that move abroad or to the continent, when you get here, you just need to rest and you need to take your time, because the next step is building relationships. And building relationships has done so many things for me moving abroad, not only in business, but just in adapting. I think today's trash day, y'all. So that's what you hear in the background. And you may even see them going, bye, it's the trash truck. It's loud, it's so loud. But yeah, so getting back to relationships. Relationships has helped me in so many ways, but in business, it is important who you know, and that's everywhere. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And one of the strongest points of relationships has been in collaboration, right? So it's not saying, I'm gonna come and do something and reinvent the wheel, or I'm gonna come and just do things on my own. And oftentimes as independent women, or, you know, masculine energy from the West, we often think that we know best or we know better than our contemporaries in our new home countries. And it's just inaccurate, right? There is value that we can provide to our new home country, as there is value that can be provided to us. And I'd like to say it's so mutual. It is beyond mutual. And oftentimes our contemporaries in our new home countries know more about logistics. They know more about the process and the systems that can help us. And I am guilty of attempting to do everything on my own to a point where it costs me hundreds of dollars, almost thousands of dollars, time, money, resources, because I just thought I could figure it out. Like, I've started businesses, I've sold businesses. I can do that anywhere. I know I have the talent, I have the acumen, I have the education, I have the courage. And while all of these things are valuable, when you do business in Africa, patience is like the number one virtue you can have, because things take time and they also take relationships. And so being in a place like Tanzania, where the first language is a foreign language to me, Swahili, and the culture is different, there's nothing like having somebody that's been in business here for years to walk me through the process and the procedure, as well as South Africa. And I'd say South Africa is a bit more similar to that of the US. The climate for doing business is a bit easier, but when it boils down to it, the value is in the collaboration and adding value to people that can in turn add value to you. And so relationships have been key. They've been key in me starting and founding my business here in Tanzania, as well as South Africa, growing the businesses here in South Africa, in Tanzania and in South Africa. And without those relationships, I wouldn't be successful. And so there are many ways that you can work on, these relationships. It's, going on LinkedIn, searching professionals in your new home country and connecting, sending a message, connecting through Instagram, right? I talk about this a lot in a resource that I'm going to share at the end of the video. So stay tuned. And if this is resonating with you, please be sure to like it as well. So other ways you can, learn about places and find places to network, and, different hotel bars, different events happening at hotels, different places where people are doing business or people that are doing business hang out, right? So those are the ways in which you can meet relationships. I don't suggest, getting in your Uber or your Bolt and your driver telling you, oh yeah, I could do this for you, I could do this, I could do that, because 9 times out of 10, that's gonna happen to you if it hasn't already happened to you and you're on the continent. And there is a cultural desire to help and support a lot of the diasporans coming. There is also a desire sometimes to get resources out of these children of the diaspora coming back onto the continent, but there is a desire to help and support. And oftentimes people will tell you that they can do things that they really can't do, right? Out of like willingness to help. And you'll lose a lot of time, possibly a lot of money, and just heartache, and frustration, saying you believed in somebody who told you that they could help out and they really couldn't, but I'd say in most cases, this is with good intention, right? So we'll focus on that, focusing on the positive, of course. And, the last thing is the traditional practice of business planning. So being honest, I never did a business plan for 98% of my businesses in the US. Like, I started them up, I knew where I could get resources from, and it went from there. But here, business plans are required for many reasons. I'd say even in pursuing my South African business visa, I've had to put together a business plan to show, how I identify in the market, how I can be helpful to the economy of South Africa, my projected revenue, if and when and how much funding I am preparing to raise. All of these things helped me to not only think through the idea, but to make sure that it was exactly what I wanted to do, and I had the adequate support to do that. And this is a process. It can feel tedious, but I can also tell you that when I went through this same practice with my coffee business, I knew that it was not going to return on the investment that I had expected in the time period that I was needing to see revenue. And it in turn shifted me to pivot in expanding my US business to the continent for that exact reason. And so the business plan is something that is necessary, right? It is absolutely necessary, even when you collaborate. And it's also a part of the time in taking that time to establish your new business abroad, but specifically on the continent. So I hope that was helpful. As promised, I am offering a free expat prep kit on starting a business. So you can access that preparation guide via the link below at ashleyinafrika.com. Once you get to the website, you put your email in, it will allow you to immediately download it. But if you don't see that pop up, you can go to Expat Courses, Expat Resources, and you can see it for free and available to download today. So thank you again to all of our subscribers, all of the comments, the shares. I sincerely appreciate it. And until the next video, I'll talk to you soon.